Hi and welcome back to the channel. So today I'm just having a look at this article on gearnews.com. Is soundtrack synths get that blockbuster sound? So it is quite interesting, and I will leave a link to it in the description. It's quite good because it actually says, it actually gives you a bit of information as to what synths were used for certain sci-fi blockbusters. Well, not really just sci-fi, but some of the top blockbusters. So it gives you an idea if you want to try and recreate some of these sounds. But I'm not going to read through the whole thing, but it starts off by saying modern big budget movie scores are full of synths, both hardware and soft. Read on to find out how to get the soundtracks, synth sounds of Dune, the new Mad Max, Furiosa, and Oppenheimer. So synthesizers have been used in movie soundtracks as long as synths has been in existence. It used to be a way to inject some eerie sounds into a sci-fi soundscape, or for a budget-conscious producer to get a full sound without paying for an orchestra. Nowadays, however, synthesizers are used throughout scores for movies of all kinds, modern composers integrating them with far more traditional orchestra and acoustic instruments. Three of the biggest names in blockbuster soundtracks are Hans Zimmer, Tom Holkenberg and Ludwig Goransson. Well, hang on a minute, what about John Williams? Obviously everyone's heard of Hans Zimmer, and Tom Holkenberg is actually Junkie XL's real name. So all these names are a massive synthesizer fans, and here is a clutch of the synths, both hard and soft, that they have used to score some of the biggest movies of the 21st century. So Hans Zimmer has single-handedly changed modern film scoring. Coming from a synth background, he's long integrated both hardware synths and VSTs into his scores. The Dark Knight and The Dark Knight Rises, Christopher Nolan's trilogy, was instrumental in changing the way that we think about superhero movies. Hans Zimmer's soundtrack was equally influential, marking a sea change in the way that blockbuster movies use music and sound. He used Yuhi Zebra, and we are now in version 2. In an interview, he stated that Zebra was his favourite plugin. The underlying quality of the sounds is not going to let me down, he says. The code in each module is really well written, so the oscillators are great and the circuits are great. And there's one module that's a bit dodgy, but they're all of an equal quality. So if we have a look and just see how much Yuhi is, so I'm going to switch over and just have a look at some of these ones. So Yuhi is €99, which is pretty reasonable these days. I've never actually used any of Yuhi's products, so I looked at Diva a few times because that seems to be the most popular one, and also Hive as well. So I may well get one at some point. So Zebra was the Dark Knight trilogy. So, Blade Runner 2049. So, Yamaha CS-80 is one of the most famous soundtrack synths ever, thanks to Vangelis' masterful use of it in the original Blade Runner. Denis Villeneuve tasked Hans with crafting the soundtrack for the sequel, Blade Runner 2049. Hans made sure to source an original CS-80 for the job. So, vintage CS-80s are notoriously expensive, about 100 grand. If you're looking to add some of that polyphonic soundtrack synth magic to your next Hollywood job, try Black Corporation's Deckard's Dream, which is still 4 grand. So you could buy the Deckard's Dream or get one of the many the software versions like Arturia's CS-80 or the GX80 from Cherry Audio. Now I have used both, and I have done preset packs for both. I am a big fan of the GX80. That was my first ever Cherry Audio plugin, and that is only $59, which is about 50 quid probably, and that is really good fun as well. The CS-80, so I've got the CS-80 as part of the V Collection 9, and I have done a preset pack, a kind of smallish preset pack for that as well. So it is a pretty good emulation as well, and it is 150, so 3 times the price of Cherry Audio's. It works a different way as well, so you can go a bit deeper with the Arturia one. So Dennis returned to Hans for the music for his next big projects, Dune and Dune 2. Acoustic and unusual instruments, mainly handmade, occupy much of the soundtrack for the 2 films. However, since fan that he is, Hans was sure to include some purely electronic tones in his epic scores. So what did he use? He used Synapse Dune, obviously. So for the first Dune, one soft synth that he reportedly turned to was, yes, you guessed it, Dune 3 by Synapse Audio. Hans has also released the Legend HZ, a 6 oscillator Phonic Mini Moog emulation with Synapse as well. So we can have a look at Dune 3, which I have just been working on recently, and I have done a full overview of Dune 3. So it's currently on for 199. So on Thomann, I think it's about £150, which is probably about the best deal. And then you can get the new Legend HZ, which to be honest, I haven't really had a chance to have a look at yet, and that is $180. So like I said, I have become a big fan of Dune 3. So for Dune 2, he also brought in Expressive E to add physical modelling elements to the soundscapes. So the Expressive E is on my shopping list to get at some point, but it's still 1,500 quid, and they haven't really come down much on the used market. And Tom Holkenberg, once known as Junkie XL, he has reinvented himself as one of the biggest composers in Hollywood, being a former electronic music producer as well as a protege of Hans Zimmer himself. Tom has nothing but love for synths. He may have sold off a lot of his gear, which I remember him doing. He kind of sold off tons of his synths, but that hasn't stopped him from incorporating synth sounds into his scores. For Deadpool, he included an ARP 2600 clone, the Yamaha DX5, the Oberheim OBXA, and Roland JD800, and a Jupiter 6. So the OBX is $4,500. You can get a JD08 for $320, which is one of the little boutique ones, and also the JU06 is about $370 as well. So yeah, so you can get the ARP 2600, but there's quite a lot of clones of that as well. Terminator Dark Fate, not one of the better Terminator movies, yeah, but the soundtrack is worth a listen. Tom pulled out Zephyr Records Serum, not for wubs, but for a nasty tearing drone. Sale at $190. It never seems to ever come down in price, but obviously you can get Vital for free, and I would highly recommend getting Vital because you can also get my preset pack for that as well. I think Vital is just as good as Serum. And there is paid versions of Vital as well, but you can get the free one and get started with that. So Ludwig Goransson, yeah, so he's Swedish. He is also on the rise, soundtracking everything from Oscar-loving Oppenheimer to Marvel movies. He's best known for incorporating unusual instruments such as the bass recorder in his score for The Mandalorian. Ah, right, so he did The Mandalorian. Did Black Panther as well. So he used many African-style instruments. No surprise there then, including talking drums. He also employed electronic sounds. The Kachala theme features a number of talking drums layered subs from a Roland TR-808 to give it some weight for theatre sound systems. And he used the 808 in Killmonger's theme as well. So you can pick up a TR-8 for about 300 quid. I didn't know that he did Tenet as well, so he's actually done some pretty good films then. His work for Christopher Nolan's Tenet, Ludwig apparently dialed in Yui's Hive. Right, so this is down to, well, it's saying 125 quid, so that's pretty good as well, yeah. Oppenheimer as well, so his biggest score to date has been Oppenheimer. He did make use of a Moog Mini Moog Model D to double the strings throughout, and to get your own Mini Moog sound, there's the reissue. If not, there are many software versions, including Hans-approved Legend HZ and Universal Audio's Moog Mini Moog. That is pretty much it for that story. So anyway, so it gives you a good idea of some of the soft synths and hardware that have been used in the films that you have been watching. We'll leave links to my preset packs in the description. That's it for today. So thanks for watching, and as usual, if you are enjoying my videos, please like, subscribe, share, comment, and I will see you in the next one.